Hello, everyone. Let me know if you can hear me. I think you can hear me. Let me just I'm going to check everything on my phone as well, just to make sure everything is going smoothly. All right. How's everyone? Hey, yo. Can you hear me? Let me know in the audio. I see Weirdo, I don't know here. I see Shubham here. I see P here. AKL saying, see you. Okay. And the audio is good too. Can you hear me as well? Boogie Master Mom's here saying hello everyone. Susanna saying you're live. Audio good. Great. Thank you, Susanna. Okay, so before you guys send me some topics and questions, you guys decide what we talk about today. I was just this morning checking what Muslims are saying about Ramadan, because Ramadan is coming soon. So that's interesting to see how that's going to affect. It's very interesting because this whole Corona thing hit Easter, Passover, and Ramadan. You know, these all three main Abrahamic religions had their main events and celebrations and get-togethers canceled. So it's very interesting to see how they're gonna. All three of them are gonna adjust. How many disagreements are in between them? You know, there are always going to be examples of people ignoring the rules and going to churches or going to mosques or going to synagogues. You know, all three of them, you're going to see some stubborn people. But like, just to be fair, most Muslims, most Christians, and most Jews are not gathering. Okay, we do highlight the ones that are being stubborn and are doing their gatherings and are going to mosques and stuff like that. And to be also fair to us highlighting them, religious communities seem to be a bit more stubborn when it comes to ignoring the rules and doing their gatherings. But overall, most Muslims and most Christians and most Jews are saying, like, yeah, we need to stay at home. Okay, so just because we highlight the ones that are ignoring the rules shouldn't give you the impression that this is a common thing. Okay, if you listen to the religious leaders online, they're not saying like, no, we need to go to the mosque, this is Ramadan. Like, most of them are saying like, we need to adjust, we need to stay at home, this is serious, take it seriously. So that doesn't mean we shouldn't highlight the people. Again, this is not a contradiction, right? That doesn't mean we shouldn't highlight the people that are ignoring it, but you should also know that us highlighting the ones that are ignoring the rules does not reflect what's happening overall. Okay, so we need to keep mentioning that so you don't get a false impression of what's going on. AK, I think seems like the only topics in the US are the virus and how badly Trump is handling it. Well, one major thing that is happening right now is the tensions between Iran and US is increasing again. Another thing that I think a lot of people might have missed was the whole price war between Saudi Arabia and Russia. That was a big deal. It ended recently. So I don't know if you guys missed that. Let me know if I've missed out anything important because of this whole Corona thing. Susanna saying Armin and Ali did an interview with Anthony. Yes, on secular. Okay, wait, that was not about me. P is saying, what's your take on street epistemology? Oh, that's Susanna already answered you. Yes, go watch the episode. We had a full-on discussion on that. So check it out. Just search for Anthony. I don't know how to say his last name. I'm gonna try. Anthony. I'm gonna embarrass myself trying. Anthony Magnabosco. Anyways, just wait. Why am I not highlighting comments? This is the name that you can see in the Susanna. Just search for that and secular jihadists. Watch our discussion with them. Well, I forgot to highlight your comments. Sorry about that. Agree or may not all religious leaders are batshit crazy. Well, they are batshit crazy. Let's be fair, but they're batshit crazy about some things and not batshit crazy about some other things. I mean, I'm probably batshit crazy about some things. I just don't know what I'm batshit crazy about. I hope somebody manages to point that out to me. I mean, if you believe in God and religion, you are batshit crazy. But it's possible to be very intelligent about something and not, or not, at least not crazy about something and be crazy about something else. I mean, crazy is not the right word. Again, okay, so people are going to become like, oh, Armin, you're not a mental health. Okay, the terminology that we use here is different than what professionals use. Okay, we mean something else by these words. Shubham is saying, seems like Duterte threatens the country with the martial law. Okay, I'm in the Philippines right now, and I have the policy of don't shit where you eat. So I'm not going to comment much on Duterte, if you don't mind. I wish I did. I could though. Another thing that, what else? Okay, so you guys keep. If you guys want to, by the way, want to call me a coward because of that, that's fine. I don't care. I'd rather be safe than sorry. What's another thing that I saw? Oh, so going back to the corona situation, some right wing people are pointing out. Not right wing, sorry. That's some alt right. I don't know if they consider some alt right. Some people that most consider alt right are pointing out that this focus on Black people getting corona more than others. Well, it's true that they're getting more, like they're being affected by it more than others. They're getting higher death rates. More adjusting per capita, not more in total. More as in overrepresentative relative to what the percentage of the population they are in the United States. Black people are seen to being hit more by the corona situation, right? And a lot of people say this is because of structural, systemic or structural racism. Is there a difference between structural and systemic racism? I don't know. And these people are pointing out that if it's because of structural racism, then why are the Hispanics getting the same rate as white people in the United States when it comes to coronavirus? So if Black people are getting hit more by the coronavirus because of structural racism, the fact that Hispanics are getting the same rate as white people, does that mean that there is no structural? Are you guys saying these alt-right figures are saying to the people that are the woke, I don't know, camp, are saying, are you guys claiming that there is no structural racism against Hispanic? I don't know. That's an interesting. I don't know what the answer is, by the way. Either way, I think both sides of these discussions come up with their conclusions without actually having access to any data that reveals their side is right or not. But that's an interesting question. What do you guys think? I mean, even if you don't know the answer, I think it's fine to guess as long as you acknowledge that you have no idea to know if your guess is a correct or not. We got a super chat. Thank you by Raven. Thank you, Raven, so much for your super chat. Raven saying, hello, everyone. This time I got a notification. Last time I couldn't do one of these super chats. I tried and it wouldn't let me last time. Let's see if it let me now. If it does. Yay. Thank you, Raven. It worked. $10 super chat. That's very generous. By the way, guys, do not send us super chats at all if you are struggling financially. But if you are not struggling financially, thank you for the super chat. And also, if do not become a Patreon, do not support us on Patreon at all if you are struggling financially because of these times or in general. But if you are not struggling financially, there is a Patreon link in the description. Please consider supporting us because we lost a lot of our supporters because of this whole Corona thing. So we had a lot of projects that we were hoping to at some point get to, and now we can't. So if you can replace some of our lost patrons, that would be nice. Susanna is saying, Armin, you don't have to be PC. This is a politically incorrect safe space. Politically incorrect safe space. I love that. That is great. This is a safe space to be politically incorrect. That is, I never heard that before. I don't know. Did you come up with that, Susanna? That's great. I'm gonna steal that from you. Matt is here. Hi, Matt. No, you're not. You're not that late. Yes, we just got started. Actually, it's been 10 minutes already. Wow, it's been 10 minutes already. That's amazing. Okay, Vikram is here. Hi, Vikram. We need socialists to answer the question. Systemic issues are very complicated. Yes, I agree. It's very complicated, and most people come up with conclusions without, knowing the complications. I mean, it's okay. Again, if you don't know how complicated it is, and if you know all the details, it's still fine to guess. You don't have to be like, I'm not going to have an opinion of anything unless I have a doctorate in it. You can still guess and come up with like a reasonable guess as long as you acknowledge that this shit is complicated. It's very likely that my guess is wrong. Okay, acknowledge that. Just don't. If you don't, it's fine. It's a difference. It's kind of like the difference between a theory and a hypothesis, but it's even less than a hypothesis, because hypothesis is supposed to be an educated guess. So it's not even an educated guess. Sometimes it's just a guess. It's fine to guess. Shubham is saying, I think it is because of the poor living conditions of Black people. We do need more data. Yeah, but okay. So, but the people that think this is because of racism, they're like, yeah, and the poor living conditions is because of racism. And then the other side would be like, well, if racism leads to poor living conditions, then it should again follow that the Hispanics, there's a structural race. You guys say there's the structural racism against Hispanics, so they should have poor living conditions, and they should get hit by corona more than white people. Even if it's not as bad as Black people, it should still be worse than white people. They're saying, like, according to you guys, okay, Hispanics should still be hit harder than white people because of poor living conditions or whatever that. Anyways, P is saying there's some again, but here's what those alt-right people would say that they haven't proven. They go make their own claim that they haven't proven. They go and say that Black people. I'm not gonna say what they say, because then YouTube is gonna be like, "What? Oh, I shouldn't even say Black people." Just saying Black people makes YouTube like think this is a racist video. I shouldn't have said that. Some people don't even use that. I should have said like African American or something like that. Damn it! I know that was a trigger. I knew that was a trigger word for a huge trigger word for the algorithm. I shouldn't have said that. P saying there's some floating opinions that religion is a form of mental illness. Your thoughts, please. Well, I don't know. I don't think so. There's some floating opinions. If it's just floating opinions, then I'm not going to take it seriously. I think mental illness is like, you need experts on that, not just floating opinions by who? By just random bloggers and YouTubers like me, or by mental health experts? And even if it's mental health experts, is it just mental health experts just thinking about things and openly thinking about things? Or is it based on some research or something? And if it's based on a research, is it like a peer reviewed by a research, and or is it just like a research with very low number of subjects? And even if it is a good peer review, maybe it's even better than a peer-reviewed research. Maybe it's a meta-analysis, right? So it really depends on where the information is coming from. I mean, it's possible to be wrong about something. I mean, it's not possible. It's more likely for people to be wrong about something without being mentally ill. People, even if without religion, people are wrong about many things without being mentally ill. Okay. Susanna saying, everyone slap the like button, slap the subscribe button. If you are watching this for the past 14 minutes, you must enjoy this discussion. So, and if you're not subscribed, then why the hell are you not subscribed? Okay. And if you enjoy watching these live and being part of the discussion, then being subscribed is not enough, because you're going to see these videos way after they're done. So hit the notification bell as well, so that you could actually be part of the discussion. When you hit the notification bell, make sure you select the all one, because if you just say highlights, again, you're not going to be notified in time about any of this. Matt is saying, what time do you wake up in the Philippines? I try to, okay, there's a difference between the time that I try to wake up and the time that I actually wake up, okay? So on the days that I'm supposed to run, I try to wake up at 3 a.m., but I wake up at 4 a.m. On the days that I do weights, I try to wake up at 4 a.m., but I end up waking up at 5 a.m. On my 2 rest days, I wake up whenever I want, and that ends up being 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. I try to get good sleep. It's very important to get good sleep. I think when it comes to health advice, getting enough sleep is one of the most underrated things there is. Like, drinking a lot of water and getting a lot of sleep is really, 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 really good for you. Like, more people, yeah, it's important, but I guess no, it's serious. This is very serious. Okay, it's very serious for you to get a lot of sleep. It's not like, yeah, I guess it's a little bit important. No, it's like really important. You change your life. Vikram is saying, is it possible? Yeah, so I wake up early, but I also go to sleep early. Try to go to sleep early. Vikram saying, is it possible that systemic discrimination towards Black people are different to that experienced by Hispanic people socially is very different? Yeah, of course it's possible. Is it possible? Your question should be, is it likely? Because if you say, is it possible, almost any question that starts with, is it possible, most of that time the answer is yes, because there are very few things that are not possible, okay, especially when it comes to social studies, right? So the question should be, is it likely? Because the answer to most questions that start with is it possible is yes. And if you said, is it likely, I think the answer again would be yes, but at least that would be I think a better question. Let me see what is that. Okay, what is this? Armin's been awake since like 5 a.m. this morning. I don't know when the fuck this man sleeps. Well, I sleep a lot. I try to sleep. I try to go to sleep by 7 p.m., but I end up sleeping at 8 p.m., and that's why I wake up at 4 a.m. instead of 3 a.m. So 8 to 4, that's 8 hours of sleep. That's a lot of sleep. That's good sleep. Vikram saying, who cares what the alt-right say? LOL, those people are crazy people. That's a wrong way of looking at anything. Keep saying that, and you get Trump reelected, and worse. Robert Hamilton is saying, where do you think woke culture is ultimately headed? Will it eventually evolve into something else? If so, what? I think we have passed the peak of the woke culture. And I know it's still a big deal, and I still think it has a lot of influence, but I think we're past the peak. I think I always compare it to the Red Scare, the McCarthy stuff. The Red Scare in the United States, it was very ridiculous. It lasted for a short time, and now anybody looking back at it could see how ridiculous it was. It's very similar to the woke cult. People were being accused left and right of being communists, just like a lot of people. It was even worse than the woke trend, because more people were being accused of being communists back then than people are being accused of being Nazis now. And when it comes to the Red Scare, the government got involved in the whole accusation, and even court. There was like so many people lost their jobs, so many people were targeted by the government. I mean, the government in the US is not as involved as it's the cultural thing right now in the US, right? it could be like, oh, you had a meeting with this person. I see there's a picture of you shaking the hand of this guy that was at this labor union meeting. So communist, right? And so it was ridiculous. And it's very interesting how similar it was to the whole woke trend, because there's also a lot of people were saying that back then that communism is going to come take over the United States. This is a real threat. But now we look at it historically, we could see that like United States was not at all in any risk of a communist takeover. And just like now, a lot of people think like, oh, we defeated Nazis, but Nazis are coming back. But I think they're overestimating that threat. I don't think there's any chance that Nazism is going to come take over the United States or like something like that. So it's very like the alt-right or the Nazis. I don't think they're going to take over or anything like that. So I think that overestimation is very similar. And another thing that was very similar is that the fact that how it helped communists back then, because there were, communism was not going to take over, but there were communist spies in the United States. And they managed to get by much easier because everybody and their dog and their cat was being accused of being communist. So it was really hard to actually identify a real communist. And in a very similar way, when you start accusing everybody of being a racist because they like to tweet or something like that, actual racist is harder to identify actual racists. You actually, when you identify the actual racist, they're going to be like, well, everybody is a racist. They're like, no, you're an actual racist. But so it's very similar. And I think just you saw how fast that got over and people were like started realizing how ridiculous that was. I think it's happening the same way with the woke cult right now, slowly, but actually it's happening faster than I expected. I don't think it won't turn into, I don't know if it's going to turn into something else. I'm just hoping it goes back to the true liberal, like a lot more people, one of the signs that we're at the peak was when they started targeting Bernie with the woke stuff, right? Accusing him of misogyny and stuff like that. Like when you accuse like heroes of the left with like when they get targeted with woke stuff, that a lot of people on the left are going to abandon this whole woke accusation. So it was good to see that this is more comedians, more celebrities are coming against it, but I'm hoping it will just go. I don't know, but I'm hoping that it will just go back to what the liberal movement is supposed to be representing. I don't know. Maybe this is just wishful thinking, but that's what I'm hoping. But it did do a lot of damage that might stay with us, right? Like their philosophy is going to be sticky in like Facebook's, YouTube, and Twitter's community standards and media policies. I don't know, those are going to be there for a while. I don't know how long that's going to last. Just like Trump's damage is going to stay with us for many years after he's over, I think the woke cult's damage is going to be with us for many years after the peak. Again, even if we pass the peak, that doesn't mean they're not going to be with us, but we are passing the peak, I think. GV saying, would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 20 duck-sized horses? 20 duck-sized horses. Wow, one horse-sized duck is frightening. I would not be able to defeat one horse-sized duck. There's no way. Yeah, I can't even imagine what I would do. Do I have like knives or guns? I don't know. I need more detail. Hussein is saying, what surprised you about Western culture? Define Western culture. What surprised me about Western culture? Nothing surprised me about Western culture. Maybe Western culture. You have to define Western culture. What do you mean by Western culture? I think a lot of the things that Western, there's nothing about the West that at least I wasn't familiar with before. Do you know what I mean? Depends on what you mean by Western culture. There is no Western culture. There is no one Western culture. Okay? There, are you talking about Enlightenment values? Are you talking about traditions? Are you talking about values? Depends on what you mean. Because each one of these could be a 1-hour episode. But again, what I could tell you, maybe the reason why there's nothing surprised me is because from age 2 to 4, I lived in Germany. From age 4 to 6, I lived in London. And when I lived in Iran, the main source of our entertainment was American movies and American music. And the main source of our news was BBC, English BBC, not even the Persian BBC. So it's not like you're not exposed to everything already. Matt is saying, what's your opinion on antinatalism? Oh, yeah. I mentioned I'm going to talk about that. Wait, we're talking about the whole idea of not having any children, right? Let me make sure we're talking about the same thing before I comment. Antinatalism. Yeah, okay, we are. Okay, so I don't agree with it. I mean, if you want to have a kid, have a kid. I didn't want to have a kid. I'm going to have a kid mostly because my wife wants to have a kid. So if it was up to me, I would adopt somebody. But I really want to see my wife happy, and one thing that makes her happy is to have a baby. So probably I'm going to have a baby, unless I could convince her otherwise. But that seems to be like a losing battle. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll manage to convince her out of it. But I don't see there's a problem. I don't see any problem with having babies. I don't. Can you guys defend it? Like, why would I? What? Okay, let me see. Is it like an environmental thing? It's mostly an environmental thing, isn't it? Social movement that assigns negative value to birth. They argue that people should abstain from procreation because it's morally bad. Why is it morally bad? In a scholarly literary writing, various ethics foundations have been presented. Okay, but why is it morally bad? Because of their consumption of resources and environmental stuff. Because of air pollution and stuff like that. We're not suffering from, again, this is going to be a controversial thing, but overpopulation is not going to be an issue. It really depends on where you live. Okay, overpopulation is an issue in some countries, and it's actually the problem is the opposite in some other countries, right? But overall, on the planet, it's not going to be an issue. Every time, if you go back in history, every time people thought that this is going to be a major issue, the technological advancements were progressed faster than, if you go back 100 years, the population that we had today was something that even half of it, like people couldn't imagine the planet could even survive this, right? But we keep, coming up with new ways that makes everything possible. I don't think overpopulation is going to be a problem. There are better ways to save the planet than not having babies. I mean, even if you live, people are not going to make decisions. Like if you live in so if you are saying that let's say you live in a country that overpopulation is a problem. If you decide not to have a baby because of that, does that mean that if you live in a country that is suffering from underpopulation and they're losing their younger, like for example in Japan or some European countries, they're using their younger population? Does that mean that if you don't want a baby, you should have a baby anyways, even if you don't want it? Because if you're making decisions based on what's good for the society, right? If that's all then that means that in countries where they don't have enough babies, then even if you hate having a baby, then you should have a baby. But that's not how. You can't expect people to make decisions like that, right? I mean, fixing world issues like that has to be come up with bigger policies. I really don't see like changing, unless you have a major disease like coronavirus or something like that. I don't think changing individuals' behavior, moves the needle that much. I think when it comes to animal rights activism, environmental issues, it all comes down to getting the right people in government and coming up with the right policies. Me not like driving to a place is going to have less of an impact on in the economy than activism on getting the government to install better engines on on ships that are responsible for a lot more carbon emissions. If you spend more time lobbying the government for a policy like that, the time the time that you save using the car instead of walking or biking, unless you actually want to get exercise, if you spend that time on some activism and trying to get the government to pass on policies that move things big scale, I think you're going to get a more return on your investment if you do that. Okay. Okay. GV, tag me on Twitter and tell me to follow you, and then I'll follow you. Okay. Where did that comment go? Oh my god, I lost track of everything. Okay, here we go. Lost track. Hi, Fanny is here. Hi, Fanny. Yep, guys, go check out Fanny's channel. And she makes really good content. She interviewed me as well. That was very fun. Susanna is saying, oh, yeah. Yeah, guys, tag Atheist Republic if you guys want to read your comments, please. Andrew is saying the coronavirus is killing both African and American and Hispanic population at a disproportionate rate. And that's not what I heard. Maybe I have the wrong information. Can you... No, I don't think so. Maybe I have the wrong information. But if that's true, then that throws out their entire point of argument, that other arguments. But that's not what the data I've seen. That it doesn't show that. If I'm wrong about this, please comment in once the live is over, post a link or something. Mihael Asman is saying Confucianism has, am I pronouncing it right? Yes, has no supernatural elements. It is a philosophy and also religion. It does have some supernatural. I mean, I studied this like so many years ago. I don't remember it, but I remember there were some supernatural beliefs in it. It's more about the structure of a society and all of that, and yeah. So that part of it is not supernatural. Does it have no supernatural belief in it? It's very. I remember. Maybe I'm remembering this wrong. It seemed to me very conservative about the need for structure and all that. I do know that it had a lot of claims without evidence, that's for sure. I just don't remember if there was any. Guys, I don't remember actually. Does it have any supernatural elements or not? If it doesn't have supernatural elements, then I don't consider the religion. But I remember there was something. I don't know. I forgot. This is the stuff that I need to learn more about. Guys, was there really not any supernatural beliefs in? Again, I always have a problem in pronouncing it. I always feel like I'm saying Confucianism. Is there no supernatural beliefs in it? I remember it was a lot about structure, a lot about roles, a lot about people having to do certain things based on their position in society and having respect and putting putting fathers at the center of a family and like other roles being like a father, unless I'm confusing it with another Chinese doctrine. But I think it was Confucianism. Let me know if I'm getting it right or wrong, or educate me in the comment section. Hussein is saying, I want you to prank call. No, I'm not going to prank call anybody. Prank call this guy, but I don't want to give his information. However, if you give the company he works for, why would I prank call anybody? What are you guys doing? You guys are having a debate with Vikram, so it's fine. I'm just going to read the ones that is addressing me. Andrew is saying, you also have to consider that the African community, generally speaking, have more public transportation jobs, except from stay-at-home orders, and less likely to be insured. Okay, that might be it. I have no idea. Oh, hey, ex-Muslim atheist is here. I think you're from ex-Muslim atheist. Are you in Pakistan or just from Pakistan? You have a Pakistani flag as your logo. Wait, no. Eid is around the corner. Are you looking forward to it? All the great iftar parties during Ramadan. Why would I be looking forward to it? I'm in the Philippines. I wish I was somewhere that people could invite me for. I mean, wait, there's not going to be any iftar parties. I hope not, because this year there's not going to be any parties. I mean, there shouldn't be any parties. It's just going to be people spending some alone time at home with their families. But I wish, if there is aid and people are giving out food, I would love that. I don't care if it's because of Islam or Christianity or Judaism or whatever. If they're giving me food, I'll go. Chopin is saying, most Indians around me, including me as a kid, Western culture is supposed to be a very liberal culture, which most often goes against the traditionalism of countries like India. I don't consider that Western culture, right? Why is this Western culture? It's also you can see it in Japan, you can see it in South Korea, you can see it in Hong Kong, you can see it in I don't understand. This is Enlightenment values. Okay, these are not Western culture. This is Enlightenment values. I guess you could say that these Enlightenment values become very nuanced, detailed, advanced, and popularized in Western Europe during the 1800s. That's fair, but it's not Western values, because Western values include many other things, such as communism and Nazism. And other people are like, oh, but communism, Russia is not Western. Marx was from Germany, okay? So it originated from the West. So if you don't think communism is a Western value because it spread other places, well, the Enlightenment values also started in Europe and it spread in other places. So it doesn't belong to the West anymore. It belongs to the world. Right, so that's why I don't like to call them Western culture. Nazism is also Western culture. Okay, I call them Enlightenment values. I don't deny where they came from. Yeah, they came from Western Europe. Like, let's give credit where credit is due. But if you call them Enlightenment values, first of all, you're identifying which of these Western originated values you're talking about. And also, if you call them Enlightenment values instead of Western values, it's much easier to promote them in other places than Western countries. If you don't want to have a kid, then you are an antinatalist. No, I think antinatalist is a position that you think it's the morally right thing to do. We got a super chat. Let me actually go down, highlight the super chat. Where is the super chat? Omar, thank you so much, Omar, for the super chat. £5. Omar is saying, virus will be a terrible defeat for Islam. This is the crisis for it take the leadership role. They have offered no solutions. Muslim apologists. Interesting. I do see what you're saying is happening in Iran. A lot of people are questioning their views on Shia Islam, at least in Iran, because of the whole coronavirus. I don't know how widespread that is. I don't know if it's going to have, but it's very interesting because some people were mentioning this the Mahdi could also get the coronavirus, Imam Zaman, and on TV, the Messiah figure in Shia Islam, right? And also in Sunni Islam, but it's more emphasized in Shia Islam. And it's funny because some people were coming on, I don't know, and putting videos out there asking like, okay, so if the Mahdi can get coronavirus, is he going to go to a hospital? If he's or not? If he's not going to go to a hospital, if he is going to go to a hospital, what name is he going to use? Is he going to use his real name or fake name? If he's going to get his real name, does he have an identification card? Does he have insurance? If he's going to use his fake name, does he have a fake ID? So they're talking about their Messiah figure like that. They're asking some questions like, or if he's not going to go to the hospital, is he going to get cured because of heavenly things? And if he's going to get cured because of heaven, God is going to just cure him. Why would he get sick in the first place? People are asking. It's very interesting. People are actually asking these questions. So people are making people wonder about how could you. Yeah. So it might be. Just the idea of examining these ideas with coronavirus makes people just reflect on their religion's views, and it may produce a lot of atheists. But I don't know. I don't know how widespread these are, but I have seen it. GV saying the philosophy behind antinatalism is the absence of pleasure is better than the presence of. Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, I know what you say. I actually have a response to this. So the absence of pleasure is better than the presence of pain. So if nobody is born, there would be nobody to suffer pain. Oof. Okay, so this might be a hot take for me now, and you guys might think I'm insane, but it's fine. What else is new? Okay, so I would have that position if the whole world ended today. Then this whole life thing was a mistake. Okay? The reason why I say that is right now, even though things are better than ever before, and many people think things are getting worse, but things are getting better. Okay? Things have been getting better for a long time. Poverty is dropping, violence is dropping, disease is dropping, people are living better lives. Almost every generation is living at the best of times, right? Compared to the people that came before them. But people think that even though most people are living at the best of times, and also have been living at the best of times, most people also think that they're living at the worst of times because bad news sells, good news doesn't sell, right? But even though things have never been as good as they are now, it's also true that things are really, really shitty right now. Things are really shitty, even though they're the best they have ever been. Like, I don't know if most people understand how much misery there is out there. This is the best we have, and it's really shit. Okay, we're still living in hell, but it's less hellish. This hell that we're living is less hellish than it has ever been. Okay. But there's just so much fucking suffering. Like people right now, for example, that we're complaining about coronavirus or stuff like that, you have no idea how people are living, man. Like if you have food more than if you're reasonably confident that you're not gonna starve to death, and you're gonna have food to eat tomorrow. Okay, not starve to death, but if you're reasonably confident that you're gonna have food to eat tomorrow, and if you have a roof over your head right now, and if you have clothes other than the clothes that you're wearing right now, you're really well off compared to a lot. Like, it used to be half of the planet. I don't know if those numbers have changed, but just a few years ago, you were more well off than half of the goddamn planet. Okay. There's so much suffering right now, and that's just even ignoring animals. Like, if you just think about, people think like farming, the way people are treating farm animals is bad. You have no idea what animals are dealing with in nature. Okay, add all that suffering as well, and there's just more suffering than pleasure out there right now. There's just way much more suffering than pleasure. Okay. And if this was it, if this was all that there would be, then if I don't want to be selfish, okay, because we have it, most of us here have it reasonably good, relatively good. It would have been better if we just wiped out the entire planet, right? If we got like swallowed by the sun, this would be a net positive, because it would end more suffering than more pleasure. So on a net basis, this would be a good thing. Okay. But the reason why I don't have that philosophy is because this is not the end. Okay. I'm very optimistic about the future. So I think that going forward, we are going to solve most of our problems. And I don't know how many years from now. I think it's going to be short. I think a lot of people think 1,000 years from now. I honestly think it's going to be less than 200 years from now. Given though not only we're making progress, we're accelerating the rate of progress. So the rate at which the rate is increasing is also increasing. So I think in less than 200 years from now, most of the misery, most of the pain, most of the disease, most of the hunger that we're dealing with, we're going to solve that. And I think the future of this planet is going to be more pleasure and happiness than pain. And it's going to continue being that for many, many years, if not till the end of the universe, because even if the sun blows up or whatever, I'm pretty sure we're going to figure out a way to just leave the planet and go somewhere where there's not the sun, and we don't even need the energy of the sun at that point. We're going to turn matter to energy at will anytime we want. So I think it's just going to be pure happiness and pleasure for millions of years. And that will be the net positive is going to outdo the pain by astronomically, even if you include all of past human history. So I think because of our optimistic future, I think it would be a crime for us not to have life. Anyways. Chopin is saying, but yeah, if I wasn't optimistic about the future, life would have been a mistake. Well, not a mistake because nobody planned it, but you know what I mean. Chopin is saying, I would consider adopting a kid instead. Why bring a kid to this world already suffering? Because my kid will not be suffering. Okay, okay. Why bring a kid in this world if they're suffering? I don't think that's a good reason. I mean, I prefer adopting because, first of all, if I'm investing my time and resources on another human being, I want to see what I'm getting. Okay, I don't want to just roll the dice. I'm like, give me something. I hope to get something good. I want to see the product before I purchase it. Okay, and you say like, purchase? What do you mean? Yeah, kids cost a lot of time, money, and energy. Okay, so you are purchasing something. Like, I'm not gonna roll the dice and see what I get if I'm getting a car. Why would I do with a baby? I want to see what I'm getting. I want to see it's healthy. I want to see it's happy. I want to see it doesn't have So that's why I would adopt. And also, you're saving a kid from being an orphan, so that's a good plus as well. But I don't see like why bring a kid to this miserable world, because I'm not gonna give a miserable life to my kid. I hope so. My point is more of Chopin saying, my point is more for not making a new life suffer instead of not destroying the world. Why? Okay, but why would a kid suffer? Why would my kid suffer? My kid is not going to suffer. I mean, on net, we are mostly okay. Most of you guys have no idea how lucky you are. The fact that you get to sit behind your phone or your computer and have your food problems taken care of and your other things, like the fact that you get to not worry about these things and be able to have these conversations with other people around the world. You guys are so well off. I mean, if you compare yourself to, I don't know, millionaires and billionaires, you might get depressed. but that's because you don't know how bad other people have it. Raven is saying, Armin, you could always do both. Have one, adopt one. I wish I could adopt one, but adopting, I hear, can be really expensive. Yeah, I mean, having one and adopting one seems even more expensive. Kids are pricey, very pricey. Most people don't know how big of an investment they're making. There is a belief in an afterlife in it. What is this referring to, Vikram? Remember, when I get to your comment, the conversation might have already changed a lot, so you guys have to give me some context in what we're referring to. Andrew saying, one more thing, you have to consider the impact of redlining. Oh, okay, that's another, going back to the whole black coronavirus situation thing. I don't know if redlining is still relevant. I think a lot of people, I don't know, some people are, again, these are things that I don't know. I've seen people commenting. Some people are saying it was still very relevant. Some people are saying, no, it used to be relevant. It's not relevant anymore. And I can't have a strong opinion on something unless I actually do the research. I just think like a lot of people have strong opinions on things. You might be right, Andrew. I don't know. So Andrew's saying social isolation is a major factor in getting COVID-19, and redlining targeted black neighborhoods specifically. Again, I don't know how relevant redlining is still. Okay. Okay. Supreme Leader Kim is saying, can you? Oh, hi, Leader Kim. We're getting message from Korea. Can you come debate Darth Dawkins? Who's that? He's converting me to Christianity. I have no idea who that is. Just tell him to come here. Vikram is saying, Leader Kim, what about Darth Dawkins? Yeah, let's just have a discussion here. Why would guy? How do you defeat? Okay, actually, let's not, because we're almost running out of time. How do you defeat the? Oh my God. Okay, just I don't want to talk about the existence of God here. If you guys want, just get my book, and if you can't afford my book, or you don't have, just tell me to email me, and I'll send you a free PDF copy. Email Atheist Republic, and I'll send you a free PDF copy. Okay, or at least somebody in Atheist Republic will. But go buy my book, Why There Is No God. I wrote that book because I was so bored of having these discussions about the existence of God. There's a chapter on each one of these arguments. Okay, so Why There Is No God is my book. If you can't, it's really cheap. The Kindle version of it is like $1, I think, now, unless Amazon changed something. But if you can't afford that, it's under $2, I think. I don't know. I forgot. It should be at least under $3, okay? But less, yeah. It's cheap. But if you still can't afford it, email us. Go to atheistrepublic.com. There's a contact section. Go to the contact section and be like, hey, I can't afford your book and I really want to read your book. Can you send me a free copy? And we'll send you a PDF copy of Atheist, Why There Is No God. Okay. Armin, would you be interested to have a conversation with Mufti Abu? Yes, I would. Recently, he had a video visit on his new podcast called Mini Trap and had a friendly conversation. Actually, what I would do is I will tell Ali Rizwi, if I don't do it right now, I'm going to forget, to invite him on the Secular Jihadist podcast. Okay. I'm going to do it right now. Mufti Abu. How do you pronounce his last name? Life. So, okay, I message, because Ali is in charge of our guest on Secular Jihadist podcast, so I'll just told Ali to invite him. Shurpam is saying, wow, we're getting, okay. Shurpam saying, most people around me who call it Western culture don't consider it a Western culture, but a shameless culture trying to destroy millennia-old tradition. Well, I mean, that's a good thing about Enlightenment values, actually. It's a shame if by that they mean the Enlightenment values and they're calling it a shameless culture trying to destroy millennia-old tradition. Yeah, it is, and that's a good thing. It should be shameless because there's nothing shameful about it. And it's trying to destroy millennia-old tradition. Yeah, because a lot of these old traditions are nonsense and they should be destroyed. So I agree with them. I agree with them, but I see it as a positive. Raven saying, today when I ordered food from work, I used my usual order number 666. When I got home, I found a note on the back, Proverbs 9:16. Really? I found it really ironic. That's funny. Okay, that's funny. That's funny. Okay, let me just do just a few more. Atheist Republic. There are rumors that coronavirus is man-made virus and it was accidentally leaked from Chinese lab. What do you think? I think that's very unlikely. It's very unlikely, but just because it's unlikely, it doesn't mean it's impossible. Okay, I'm not. The reason why I say it's very unlikely is because the experts that I've listened to, they said that there's no way that this was man-made. I mean, it could be still natural and leaked out of a lab, I guess. But just because something is unlikely, that doesn't mean it's impossible, right? But it's Occam's razor doesn't give you 100% certainty, right? So I'm going with the most likely scenario, and I'm going to trust. I'm not going to trust. I'm going to say it's most likely that this is just a conspiracy theory. But again, if you go by Occam's razor, there are going to be some times that your explanation of of reality is going to be wrong, and this may be one of those. So if I say this is very unlikely to be the truth, and tomorrow the news comes out and they prove like, no, this is actually true, it was leaked out of a lab, and Armin, haha, you were wrong. You said this is very unlikely. No, I wasn't wrong. I said this is unlikely. I didn't say it's impossible. Okay, I said it's very unlikely. If you always go by, because I don't have access directly to primary sources and first hand, like I'm not actually looking at the data directly, and because I'm not expert in medicine and I'm just going by what the experts are saying, I can't use the scientific model. Because you can't use the scientific model, what you're doing is using Occam's razor. And if you continuously use the Occam's razor and try to find what's the most likely situation, there are going to be many examples of you getting it wrong. There are going to be many examples of you getting it wrong, right? You more time than often, if you're applying Occam's razor correctly, more time than often you're going to get it right. But it would be impossible for you not to get it wrong. In fact, if you only use Occam's razor and you're always getting it right, then something is going wrong. Okay, like, why is that? Where's my mistakes? How could I not make mistakes? It's impossible for me not to make mistakes. Okay, so I'm saying the more likely scenario is that this is fake news. But again, nothing is impossible. So if tomorrow somebody comes and proves that this was leaked out of a lab, they were like, haha, I mean, you were wrong. No, I wasn't wrong, because I said it's the most likely scenario based on what we know right now. Vikram saying, maybe Atheist Republic will be down to debate you, Supreme Leader Kim. I think I pointed out to you your non-sequitur fallacy. If it's about the existence of God, I'm really bored about discussing the existence of God. Do you guys really, how much demand is there for us to go back to discussing the existence of God? I think we're making content for atheists. I mean, most atheists are past whether there's a God or not. Am I, like, I wrote the book for people that are curious and are interested in figuring that out. But I think most of our audience are way past that and are interested. We make content for atheists, right? Most of an Atheist Republic. We're making a community and content for atheists. So if people are atheists, why are we discussing the existence of God? So let me know if that's, unless you guys think, no, we should go back to talking about why there is no God. Just as saying, I think it's kind of hard to deny the systemic racism has strongly influenced rates in coronavirus. Lack of access to healthcare in African American community more at risk. All right, I'll tell you what the alt-right people are saying. Again, they provide no proof for this as well. They're saying that Black people are not taking their health as seriously as other people. So they want to, you have two extremes. Okay, you have one extreme that gives no personal responsibility for people for their own shortcomings. They blame everything on others, everything on white people, everything on racism, and they say like minorities, any problems that they have in life has nothing to do with their own actions and they're not responsible for anything. That's one extreme. But then you have the alt-right extreme, that all their problems and all their misery and all their shortcomings is because they are somehow responsible, and they're just performing, they're not as good in things as other people. Again, YouTube gods, if you want to strike me down for this, go ahead and do it. That's not my view. And both sides provide no evidence for it. I mean, at least I haven't seen. They're just coming up with claim after claim without actually providing evidence, much evidence for what they're saying. How do you defeat? Again, I already told you I don't want to turn this into a God why there's no God discussion. Go check my book, Why There's No God. All these arguments have been I've responded to them over there a long time ago. Aaron is saying, wait, this is getting long. Okay, I'm going to try to respond shorter so I could get to the last question. No more, don't send any more questions, please, so that I could get this over with. Aaron is saying, this is one of the problem with the secularist Westerns like Armin. While they debate not having children, the Islamists are having lots of children. Well, I don't need to have children to... I mean, just because they're having children, that doesn't mean they're going to become Islamists. I'm going after their children. I have converted more people out of Islam than the number of kids that I could have in 100 lifetime, right? So I might not have kids. I mean, I probably will. But even if I didn't have kids, I go after their kids, right? That's the trick. The trick is not like, hey, atheists have babies, so there's more atheists. You don't need to do that. You're right. You could plant the seeds of doubt in just 5 of their kids. If each one of us do that, you will be doing more than, and even if you have a kid, that doesn't guarantee that they're going to be atheists just because you're an atheist. And the same way that them having kids doesn't guarantee. I mean, so many Muslims, like, for example, you can see the rate of Muslims leaving Islam is much greater in non-Islamic countries than there is in Islamic countries. So that shows that exposure to other ideas really work, right? So we just need to do the same thing, expose their kids to our ideas in Islamic countries as well. That's just a winning recipe. You can't get the same results just by pumping out babies. That's a very inefficient way of doing it. So yeah, we might not have kids, but we're coming after your kids. That's what I tell religious people. We're coming after your kids. That scares them. They feel like, what the hell is you're talking about? We're coming after your kids sounds very creepy, but I don't care. I'm going to say it. We're coming, religious people, Christians, Muslim, Jews, Hindus. We're coming after your kids. Just to say, why bring a kid into a world of problems anyway? Well, I already responded to that. Oh, maybe you didn't see. Watch this video again. I responded to this. When it's done, watch it again. AR is saying, okay, no more questions. This is the last question. AR is saying, Armin, you don't understand numbers and you don't understand culture and upbringing. If you think more Islamists having more children equals more future Islamists. Well, that's just a claim. Again, it's very interesting. People say you don't understand. How am I supposed to respond to that? I could just be like, no, you don't understand. Like, okay, that's not an argument. That's just a claim. It's very interesting. People just come up with your thoughts and your arguments, and instead of people telling you why you're wrong, it's just the laziest answer. You just don't understand. Okay, I guess we're done here. Like, what am I supposed to say to that? You could just rebut them with the same, like, you don't understand. Like, it's just like childish way to respond to things. Matt is saying, I could attest to this. I'm a child of a Meccan Oh, Matt is saying he's a child of a Meccan Saudi Arabian father. Armin is one of those who influenced me getting out of Islam. Oh, thank you, Matt. So yeah, just by math, is what I already. Again, I might have influenced hundreds of thousands of people leaving the religion, but you don't have to be like me. You don't have to start your own atheist republic organization or something like that. You only have if you only influence one person, you only have done the same as having a kid and making sure your kid is an atheist, which again you can't guarantee, right? It's more of it. If you actually convince somebody out of the religion, that's already a guarantee that you done more than, you already done, the same as having one kid. So if you do two, if you only do two, you already done your job. You don't even need to have kids. So I mean, you tell me that's not, you don't understand. ARN is saying I don't understand how numbers work. I mean, I've done my part, hundreds of thousands. I'm pretty sure I understand numbers enough to know hundreds of thousands is more than the number of kids that I would ever be able to have. So unless maybe I understand how numbers work, maybe I don't understand how biology works. Vikram is saying, gonna leave soon. Thank you for having the live stream. That it was fun. Yeah, thank you, Vikram. Just saying, I think you missed Andrew T's comment. Where's Andrew T's comment? I missed it. Like I didn't understand it, or I missed it. Oh, here. It's impossible for the coronavirus to be man-made. Yep, that's what I'm hearing from most. Okay, Andrew T saying he's a geneticist by trade, and he's saying it's impossible for coronavirus to be man-made. Genetic sequencing shows spike proteins latch on to healthy cells. That's only possible with evolution. Yeah, that's what I keep hearing from not just Andrew, but most experts. I mean, not most experts, every goddamn expert. So Occam's razor makes it very, again, the reason why I can be sure is because I'm not an expert myself. So I have to trust experts. And again, trusting experts doesn't mean you're appealing to authority. You're just applying Occam's razor. It's very unlikely for all these experts to be wrong at the same time. It's very unlikely. Is it impossible? No. If I was an expert myself, it would be as close to as impossible as it could be, right? Because I could see this genetic sequencing myself instead of trusting the experts that are telling me the genetic sequences like this, right? But it's still very unlikely for all these people to look at it and come up with the same mistake, all of them at the same time. It just makes it very, very unlikely. So unlikely that it's close to zero, okay? All right, that's about it. Love you guys. Thank you. And yeah, Susanna, as Susanna would say, slap the like button like it's Quran 434, but not just the like button, the subscribe button, the bell button, the unlike button. Hit the unlike button if you don't like the video. That's great. That also helps us. Leave a comment. Tell me how I'm an idiot. Tell me why I was wrong. Tell me why I was right. Tell me why you disagree with me. Tell me why my information is wrong, and send me a source to proper information. Comment in don't comment in the description. You can't comment in the comment section, and fight with each other in the comment section. Argue with each other. That helps. That's when there's a debate raging in the comment section. That's like really helping, because it's like YouTube, like, oh my god, so many comments. This must be an important video. Let's recommend it to other people, and we grow. And the more this channel grows, the more we reach other people, and the more we reach other people, the more we could do instead of having babies. Right? Imagine if this videos reach more people. We will be able to be more influential than we could ever be by pumping out babies. Anyways, love you guys. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for being here, and see you again soon. See you again tomorrow, Atheist Republic News. Oh, that reminds me, I have to set up the live stream for that. All right, see you guys. Bye.